Please put your hands together and welcome to the stage your next storyteller, Craig Hollywood.
We're standing in an old train tunnel. The wall is vibrating with the noise that's going on behind it. A police sniffer dog is in front of us and coming towards us. My adrenaline spikes up, but it's then replaced with relief as the dog, thank God, walks past my mates and I without making a fuss. I was pretty nervous, not because I was underage or because I had a fake ID in my pocket that I'd just spent about 5 hours making at home, but because I was about to walk into the most notorious techno club in the entire world, Glasgow's very own, The Arches. The bouncer at the door looks at me, looks at my ID, he winks, and then goes, "In you go, wee man." The big steel doors open, and I walk towards the beat. And in that moment, I knew that my life had changed forever. So we were all at the Arches to see what was arguably Scotland's best export when it comes to electronic music. They're called Slam. And every single week, those guys would have the thousands of people in the palms of their hands. I would set my alarm every weekend and wake up and go down to a record shop in the middle of Glasgow called 23rd Precinct, one of the best record shops in the whole world. And I was going there every single week, trying to find out the music that Slam were playing the night before. Now, this record shop, the people that actually worked in there were on a different level when it came to music. You could literally walk into that shop, hum them a tune that you'd heard the night before, and they would be able to recognize what song it was. They would walk into the back, they would pick up that record, and they would put it in front of you. I'll never forget the day that someone that was working there came down, put this big stack of records in front of me, and they were like, "That's what Slam bought the last time that they were in here." And I remember just thinking to myself, I can't believe they actually shop here. Now, the Arches, for quite a while in my life, was pretty much just like all of the really awesome things that were going on in my life. Art, techno, dancing, getting off my dial in a nightclub, which in itself was an art form. All under the one big, sweaty, dirty roof. And at that moment, I knew that I wanted to join something that I believed was the coolest industry in the world, and that was the music industry. And I wanted to be a DJ. So I remember my first ever radio show, and it was such a big milestone for me. And then going in and doing that radio show all the time in that awesome studio with all these funky gadgets, playing the music, talking to my heroes, it was huge. As was my first ever DJ set at a big festival, which was called Global Gathering Festival. And I've never been so nervous in my entire life. About 1,000 eyes just watching what you're doing. And I remember it made it even worse, the fact that all of the international DJs had decided to stay on the stage and watch me as I was doing it. Couldn't have been more nervous. And I remember on that day, finishing my DJ set, walking backstage, grabbing a free beer from the rider and sculling it, and just standing in the mirror and staring at myself in regards to what the hell that I'd just managed to do. The party scene and the party life is like a big tidal wave that just picks you up and takes you along. And I really, really did get caught up in it. I was partying, not with Robin Williams, but with some of the more interesting celebrities that you could imagine, and also some of the best DJs in the world. But it was interesting though, because after a while, it kind of lost its buzz. The early mornings, the late nights, the lack of sleep, the fact that you had to go into the office on Monday morning and try and keep it all together. What really upset me the most, though, was the fact that of all the things that you really missed, weddings, Christmases, birthdays, you name it. And it was all just because you were just out there DJing. And after a while, your friends and family actually got to the point where they just didn't expect you to rock up. And they didn't expect you to come because you were DJing, or you were preparing to DJ, or you were sleeping because you were about to DJ, or you were sleeping because you had been DJing. There was a moment where I think my life actually became full circle. And ironically enough, it went all the way back to the Arches in Glasgow. I was DJing and I was on the same bill as Slam. And I remember doing that DJ set and thinking, like, I cannot believe it. I'm just literally doing something and DJing with people that have literally shaped the way that I listen to music and the way that I take in music and whatever else. And I remember finishing off my DJ set that night, and we met each other and we spoke in the backstage. And we were talking about all the crazy nights in Glasgow and what happened at the Arches and all of the best times that I'd ever seen in my entire life in going out. And I'll never forget the responses from them. And it was like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. Oh, I don't really know what I was doing that night, man, but I just cannot even remember that. And it was weird, that moment, because I was literally standing in front of people that were so influential to me, but it was just another day at the office. And it was something that I just stood in disbelief at. And on that Monday, I went to the office and I realized that DJing was something that I was never going to do again. Thank you.